Yo, Cyrus, what are we doing?
You know, I had to do a listing appointment, but we got to get some food first. I can't go over hungry, you know?
Yeah, I feel you, man. Gotta get the grub in.
That's it.
So what's the story about this listing that we're going to?
So it's actually here in Yorba Linda. We're going to go meet the kids because the owner actually just recently passed away. They're selling their mother's house. They want to figure out a couple different things. They want to figure out, like, as is, how much it's going to be to sell. They're going to figure out if they did a remodel, what it would cost and how much it's going to be, and then, or should they just rent the house out? So we're going to go meet with them, talk to them about that, give them their options, give them what they can do, and then go from there.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's go.
We just got done with the listing appointment, man.
Yes, sir.
How'd it go, man?
I think we crushed it. I think we absolutely crushed it. It was very interesting, though, because when we walked in, the dogs are going to attack us. But then they ended up being these cute little dogs. But house was a mess. The bathrooms need to be completely remodeled. The kitchen needs to be completely remodeled. There's about 6 different flooring types. Every room is a different color. But overall, I like to think about listing appointments. They're not always to sign a contract, but they're sometimes just to build a relationship. And after this appointment, I think that no matter what he does, whether he's going to rent it out, whether he's going to sell it, whether he's going to remodel it and then sell it, he's going to pick us, right?
100%. I totally believe that. So he was asking a lot of questions about how are you going to get his home sold? What did you tell him to, put his mind at ease?
Yeah, we were in the backyard. So again, a big part about like my real estate or like my listing presentations are not, I don't go in and say, hey, here's what we do, right? Like it's all relationship building. So part of that process, which you saw, was like walk into the listing appointment, talk, let's have a conversation, let's talk about stories, let's connect with each other. And then we were outside in the back, we were talking about one of the pieces that he's saying, do we need to remove it, do we not? I said, hey, let the people that do what they do best tell us that, which is the designer and the contractor. And then he says, okay, well, like, what kind of marketing do you guys do? Which it's like my favorite question anybody can ask me in a presentation, because I'll put my marketing up against anybody's. And we went through all of how we market it via digitally and things like this. And I went through our presentation slides that show that. And then he's like, oh yeah, but like what happens when like people aren't on social media? And I was like, oh, don't worry, we're getting there. And I flipped to the next page and we showed him how we actually do door knocking, circle dialing, direct mail, print marketing, and so on and so forth. And I said, is there any other questions, or do you think that we missed anything? He goes, no, I mean, I think you cover literally every single base that you need to. And when he said that, I knew it was a freaking slam dunk.
So obviously he seemed really impressed with you.
Yeah.
What do you think makes you stand out than other agents? Yeah.
What do I think that, I mean, first of all, like I actually said this to him in the appointment. We were standing there we were talking about the listing presentation, and I gave my background where I used to play soccer for a living and I got into real estate. And I said I had no real estate background. I knew nobody in real estate. I said, and as you can tell, I'm not very much your average real estate agent. I mean, I'm look at what I'm wearing compared to, and he goes, yeah, compared to a blue suit and a tie. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, this is who I am, this is what I do, but I'll compare my numbers to anybody's numbers. I'll show you what we do and how we do it, and then we can go from there, right? And I think that having that personal connection, that relationship, being able to be like down to earth and have a real conversation, I think that a lot of people go into these appointments trying to sell. And me, I told him, I said, look, I can make more money if I tell you to do X, Y, Z. For instance, if you want me to front the cost of the renovation, I can make more money. But that's not a smart move for you. Hey, I can manage this property for you if you do rent it out, but it's one unit, you can do that yourself, right? And I think he really respected that. And I'm very big on, like, I want to give as much knowledge to the client so they can make an informed decision versus me trying to sell them on the decision that I want, right? Because at the end of the day, if I don't ever get this sale, if he decides he wants to rent it out and he just asks us to go and rent it for him or put it on and rent it out for him, I will be happy because I guarantee that I will get business from him or his people that he knows, his SOI, because of the relationship that we built, because of that trust. And I think a lot of agents lack the ability to build that trust with the client because they're worried about selling the client. And I don't sell the client. I just am going to go in and consult with the client.
100%, man. I got that whole vibe from him when we left the building. And so it sounds like, marketing, A1. Honesty, A1. Trust is there.
Yep.
And then obviously just being you is what creates, the whole package.
Correct. And I think that's the biggest piece. I was actually talking to somebody earlier about this on my Uber ride back. So this was another thing that he was very impressed by, right? I got this lead earlier today. I spoke with him at first. I spoke with him, maybe 5 hours ago. And he said, yeah, I told him, yeah, I'm up in Sacramento right now for a real estate event, so on and so forth. And he goes, oh, okay. He's like, hey, I'm going to be back on the 15th, And I said, no. I said, I'll be back tonight. I land at 6. I could be at your place at 7. And he goes, wait, really? And I'm like, yeah. Like, this is what we do. This is my work. This is what I do. I will fly back. I'll actually change my flight to an early flight so I can make it so I can sit down and meet with you. And I think that was a big piece, right? Because that was the first thing that he said when we walked in. He said, I can't believe you just flew in and came straight here. And I told him, I said, well, we want to make sure you're taken care of. If you're not going to be in town, I'd rather come and sit down and meet with you than wait 2 weeks to have to set this up. I can actually start this process. And that's what we told him as well with the contractor coming in. I told him, I said, let me have everybody come here while you're gone. Let us go to work for you so that you know all of your numbers so you can make an actual informed decision. But I had this conversation on my way to the Sacramento airport earlier when my Uber driver picked me up. She was asking me what we were doing, and I told her I was speaking at an event, so on and so forth. And she goes, oh, you do public speaking? Like, I've been taking public speaking classes. I'm trying to get rid of my ums and my ahs and my likes and I said, but for me, I have a stutter. I know I do. I stutter on different words. I know I say like a lot. I know I say, does that make sense a lot, And I said, but that's who I am. And I'm a big believer in, I'm going to be who I am. And if you don't like who I am, then you don't like who I am. That's cool. And I do that when I go into a listing presentation. I am who I am. I dress how I dress. I act how I act, and I talk how I talk. And if we don't vibe, then we don't vibe, and I don't want to do business with someone that doesn't vibe, right? So I think that was a big piece of why he respected me and respected what we did, because at first he's probably like, oh, great, these guys just flew in, look at how they're dressed, blah, 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 blah. But then he started asking the questions, and we have the knowledge. A big piece, you can't just dress however you want to dress and walk into an appointment and not know anything, right? You have to know what you're talking about.
Hey, man, sounds like you dropping gems all day, every day. So, I mean, you got anything else to say?
No, dude, I think this listing appointment went great. I think that we absolutely crushed it. I think we built the rapport with him. We always talk about what are steps to close the deal, and it's build rapport, create value, and then close. And I think that we built rapport very well with him. His mom had just passed away. We talked about that. We talked about you said condolences. We started talking about it. We shared stories about how we lost our loved ones. We built rapport very well. We created value by showing him what we actually do and how we do it. And at the end of the day, we close this. This client will sign a listing contract once we meet with his sister, and he will work with us, and he will refer us business if it is not right now. So
sure.
I think we did very well on that one.
Did great.